Rajizo isimunoitemnana munoitemnana munoitemnana nezvirajizo.
Mazvita mai Maziriri, thank you very much. Over to you, our esteemed presenter. Over to you now. Thank you.
Outreach project for something.
Hello. Is it just me? Kunzvika.
Hawasunzvika.
Hamusi kunzvika mai Kadiki. We can see you, but I don't know if your picture is frozen and there's no sound. Hello, Mai Kadiki, can you hear us? You're on mute.
Hi, I'm now joining with my phone because I think and this couldn't pick up a laptop.
Okay, no, we couldn't hear you, Majita. But
All
we
right.
can't see you now. We can see your ceiling.
Oh, really? Oh, sorry. Okay, just a minute.
Okay.
So kindly asking that you put Mr. Karim Nenga as co-host because I'm going to send my document to him. Since the laptop is not working, I'll be using my phone, so I will ask him to share. I'm just setting up and settling down.
That's no problem. It's done.
All right, thank you. Mr. Karim, document Rashika.
Yes, confirmed, Rashika.
All right. Okay, thank you. Let me set up my phone nicely. Sorry about that, everyone. I'm not sure what happened. And it's bad for a start as a communicator. I'm sorry about that, but these things do happen. It's technology,
Yes.
and they do happen. So greetings, everyone. I have been tasked with the topic to discuss or to train on the role of a communicator in the UMC. So what I'm kindly asking is that this becomes a discussion. I want us to use practical examples. So don't feel like it's training, we are being trained on something. Let's be interactive in what we are discussing. Mr. Karim Nenga, if you're ready, we can start.
Sorry.
Tichitanga screen sharing.
Okay, can they make this gadget co-host, please? So that we do it from here. I'm waiting. Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, kindly bear with us. While Mr. Karim is setting up, the other thing that I wanted to do or to say is we are going to use examples. And examples are going to come from our pages, from the Mission Area Facebook page, from the ROI Facebook page. But I don't want people to take this personally. It's what we encounter, it's what we see, and we work with practical examples. So if I use an example of something which may be a post that someone has shared who's on this platform, please don't take it personally, because some of the mistakes or things I'm going to highlight are also things that I've made or mistakes that I've made. So let's have open minds and let's take it as positive criticism. We are here to learn and we are here to encourage each other. So, Mr. Karim, are you ready?
Just hold on, ndikuedza kuti upload izvozvizvi.
Zvakanaka.
Yes, just a minute.
Alright. Ndaona mufundisi vari kukwazisa mukoma Ranga. Yes, I invited Ranga Dzotizei, communicator from the Zimbabwe Episcopal area. He's a communicator. I think most of you know Ziva, Zotnet International. We've worked together. We work together. He's one of the people who proofreads and edits my articles and comments and corrects me. I do the same for him. He does the same for Mr. Karim. Soranga, thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking time to join us. So while we wait for Mr. Karim to get ready, the topic, the role of a communicator in the United Methodist Church. What I want to say is everyone is a communicator. We are all communicators because we communicate daily. We communicate with our families. We communicate, be it our spouses, our children, our workmates. It's communication. So everyone is a communicator. So there's no one designated to say this is the communicator. They are the only people who can put out information. Every person communicates. So therefore, everyone can be a communicator. This includes clergy and laity. So vafundisi nesu nesu, we are all communicators and we can communicate. And this includes our junior church, they can communicate. Our UMYF, they can be communicators. RRW, MUMC, anyone can be a communicator. So we've got to situations where we find vafundisi vedu varima, we've got comms directors, we find vamwe vachitobatawo makamera, taking, recording, writing. So anyone and everyone is and can be a communicator. I think we are almost there. So there are two scriptures that I have selected to use for my presentation. The first one, and I use the NIV. I'm comfortable with the NIV version of the Bible. The first one is Exodus 4 from verse 2 to 9. And that is my sub-theme or my subtopic. And it says, what's in your hands? What's in your hands? So tichafamba nayo. Mr. Karim, we can see your WhatsApp. Okay, I will proceed while Mr. Karim is trying to set up. So I will read from Exodus 4, verses 2 to 9. Then the Lord said to him, "What is that in your hand?" "A staff," he replied. The Lord said, "Throw it on the ground." Moses threw it on the ground, and it became a snake, and he ran from it. Then the Lord said to him, "Reach out your hand and take it by the tail." So Moses reached out and took hold of the snake, and it turned back into a staff in his hand. So, what is communication? Communication is the process of transferring information between people. These could be groups or places through writing, speaking, or other mediums. It involves a sender, a receiver, and a message, and can be affected by factors like location, culture, and emotions. So we have a sender, the person who has a message to put across. Let's take it to be, it's our pastor who has a message to put out across. He is the sender. Then we have a receiver, which could be a group of people, the congregants in our church, right? We become the receivers. We are the ones who are hearing the message being put across by the pastor. Then we have the message itself. So the message could be the sermon of the day. It could be a notification. It could be wedding banns. It could be death, a funeral notice, that it's a message being sent by the sender and the receiver, the ones who hear the message. And we have said it can be affected by factors like location. So where are we? Where is the message when it's being sent? That is location. Are we in a building, in a church building? I was just thinking as I was preparing for this, like we've had Blackpool Revival. I know Zimbabwe is starting, I think on the 14th, and we go away to quiet places. Why? Because of the location. We are moving away from the hustle and bustle, the noise of the towns. We're moving away from the TVs and stuff. Most of the places do not have electricity, for example, so we don't have access to things that will distract us. So the culture also differs how a message is received by the culture. So here in the UK, our culture is different from the British culture, the Irish culture, from the culture, the UK mission area culture, I would say, or the UK culture, sorry. So our messages can be maybe taken different or maybe affected because we have different cultures. The way we do things is not the way things are done. So that can also affect the message which is being put across. And emotions as well can affect. Someone can cry and we're not able to hear the entire message. So these are some of the things that affect communication. Communication is the process of conveying information, ideas, or feelings through various means, including verbal and non-verbal methods. It involves the transmission of a message from a sender to a receiver, who then interprets and understands it. Effective communication is crucial for building relationships, expressing oneself, and sharing information. Ndiri kunzwika here?
I was wondering, would you be able to share your presentation with me pamwe ndingatry kushare screen? Mino ndinotega here kana kuti we are still just seeing Mr. Karim's WhatsApp?
Yeah, same here. Same here. What's your email address so I send it to you via email?
Even via WhatsApp is fine. You have my WhatsApp, Lillian Dumba. I can send you a quick message and you can just send it to that.
All right. I hadn't sent it.
Oh, I thought you had sent it by.
No, I sent it via email.
No problem. I'll put in the chat my email address.
Okay. Please do that. So let me know when you've sent mine, Dumba.
I've sent it.
All right. Okay, so as we're discussing communication, while I do this, so communication is something that I think most of us have done or have come across in the different disciplines that we have studied or we have done in life. So it's basically, like I mentioned, a sender, the message, a receiver, and the things that affect. Or if we ever played a broken telephone, tiri vana vadiki, it was a way of communicating or kuti message inosvika here iri zvayabva yakaita, then you'd ask kuti, then would see where the telephone broke or where the message changed. So that's also a way of communicating and factors in between. Panozoti word ratanga or sentence ratanga rinopedzisira risiriro. That's part of communication. If anyone has questions, we can do that while I'm sending this document kunamba indumba. Okay, I've sent my indumba. Please check your email.
Yeah, I have it open. I said Yashika, I'll keep refreshing. I'll let you know, Kana Yashika.
Okay. Okay, the key aspects of communication. So we've got verbal communication. This involves the use of the spoken or written words to convey a message. So like we discussed or we talked about sermon, most sermons are verbal. And then we also have written words. So it's something that's written. The sermon can be written or it could be articles that are written. So that is part of verbal communication. Then we have non-verbal communication where we use body language, facial expressions, the tone of voice, and other cues that can influence how a message is received. Us African mothers are known for the eye, or we knew kuti tikapiwa ziso rine zvaraitaura izvozvo kuti behave and you'd behave, because that was a facial expression that was used, the tone of voice. I thought of the still small voice in the Bible that is mentioned, that God was not in the wind, he was not in the noise, but he was in the still small voice. So the tone of voice also is a way of communicating. We pay attention to the tone. Sometimes it's shouting, whatever it is, but we pay attention, or it's a way of communicating. The sender we have explained. So this is the individual or group initiating the communication. So the one who's starting. The receiver is the individual or group receiving the message. The message, the information, idea, or feeling being conveyed. The context, the situation or environment in which communication takes place, which can affect how a message is interpreted. So this is what we spoke about of masangano, kwenda kumapaka and the like, and things, you know, you need a quiet environment, or prayer rooms, kana tine prayer rooms, mudzimba dzedu and things like that. So sometimes the message, yes?
Document.
Yeah, and I stood out that I think Mr. Karim is now presenting the document Rashika, but ndaona vakuto share.
All right, so thank you. We are on slide 4, Mr. Karim.
Yes.
The key aspects of communication.
Yeah.
Is everyone, can everyone see?
Yes.
All right, thank you. And then the last aspect is feedback, which is the receiver's response to the message, which helps the sender understand if the message was received and understood. And thank you for the comments that people can see. The feedback. So in terms of social media, for example, we're going to use mainly Facebook because that's where our largest audience is. It is always good to give likes and follows or even comments so that this is feedback, so that people know, when your page is a lot of likes and followers, that people are engaging, and that is feedback. The message is getting through. I know the Mission Area Facebook page, for example, got a lot of followers during the Blackpool revival, and that encouraged us that people were following and people were liking. So it was communication to us based on that feedback. So whenever someone puts out something, let's try to encourage. If we understand, if we don't understand, let's comment. There's a comment section, and then we say, can you explain further? We're going to discuss that also on how to put out information so that people don't have questions. Next slide, Mr. Karim. Examples of communication. So we've got examples of communication, how we communicate: speaking, engaging in a conversation with someone, writing, composing an email or letter, writing an article or report. Body language, which is nonverbal, using gestures, posture, and facial expressions. Visual aids, using images such as flyers, charts, or graphs to convey information. I think a couple of weeks ago, there was Madumbanga Chitwa, and I would like to believe in the presentations, people used charts or graphs. If not, that is okay, but this is when we use charts or graphs to make people understand what is it, or breakdown of something, or the percentage of something, where we use charts and graphs. Then electronic communication using email, text message, or social media platforms. If there are any questions, let me know. We can write or we can raise our hands. Like I said, let's be interactive. Next slide, Mr. Karim. So that's the other verse. Therefore go. Matthew 28, verse 9. Therefore go and make disciples of all nations. Communicators are gatekeepers. All right. Our role is to communicate the church from within and to the outside world, e.g., non-UMC members and the unconverted. So the Great Commission tells us to therefore go. As communicators, how do we go? We are going using social media, mainly through the articles that we write, the videos that we post, the audios that we post. So when I say communicating the church from within, ourselves as Mayuna, as United Methodist members, right? So we communicate to each other. So it could be the pastor communicating to us as communicators, communicating what has come down from the bishop's office, from the mission area, from the DS, breaking it down, but that's communicating within the church. And then outside is explained, non-UMC members, or then converted, where we convert people. So that's we're therefore going and bringing. And as a communicator, which I'm sure Mr. Karim Ninga and Mkoma Ranga, can also relate, that there are people who have joined the church based on what we put out. It could be Ngomane Osho, right? The program. I know a lot of people say vabvuviwe kuchurch kwenyu ndaifarira inini munopindira kupi da kuuya da kuzojoina church, because of what we are putting out there. So that's something communicators do. You go, you bring souls to Christ through social media in this case. Because I think these days it's quite difficult to communicate without the use of social media, but we can still do it. We can use telephones, but it's mainly through social media and its platforms. As such, communicators need to know the church and its structures. We live in a world where seeing is believing, and where if it is not written down, it never happened. So people want to see what is happening. This is where we do videos. I'm privileged enough, the three of us, the communicators in this group, are privileged enough to be in a group that Ebenezer TV group, and we know the plans which are happening in Zimbabwe for the Masangano which are coming, and already people are setting up, right? They're setting up so that people can see. Isuzu Tirukuno, we're going to be watching online and we'll believe as we see. And if it's not written down, even if in our jobs, they say document, document, document. If it's not written down, it never happened. So as communicators, let us also learn to write. It could be a report, a short caption or anything, but if it's not written, it never happened because there's no proof that it happened. So let's also learn to write, not just live stream and record, but to write down as well. Now we go back to the verse which I used. Use what you have, what's in your hand. I.e. kushanda nezviripo. So most communicators or most people when they are appointed to be communicators will say, andina equipment. I don't have anything to use. But we all have phones. We have cell phones. Almost all of us. And the phone can do a lot of things. The phone, you've got WhatsApp. You can send information on WhatsApp. We've got Facebook. These are apps that we have.
Sorry, my Kadiki, you've been muted.
Thank you. Sorry, mind you, madapedzera papi mapedzera undinzwa papi.
Mamchi, describe how we can all be communicators. We've all got phones.
Okay, so I was saying we all have apps on our phones. We've got WhatsApp, we've got Facebook, we can take pictures. And I was giving example that Blackpool, all the articles I put out, I wrote from my phone. I had no laptop, I wrote from my phone. So the phone is what you have. Just as Moses was asked, what's in your hand? The stuff he had and the miracles he performed with that stuff. We can perform our own miracles with our phones. We can send information with our phones. The phone, let's use it for the good. Let's use it to send positive messages, to communicate, to take pictures. What is in your hands, that is what you have. Shanda ine zviripo. Yes, we're going to talk about needing equipment, but you will first work with what you have. Yes, equipment will come. When people see your zeal and your passion, then people will invest. But we start with working with what we have. Know the church and its structure and its structures. When I say know the church and its structures, we are saying, especially as communicators, when you're reporting, you need to know a structure. For example, I will start with our committee as communications. We fall under CM, Connectional Ministries. I will explain that further. Communication chairperson is who we report to. The chairperson then reports to the CMD, the Connectional Ministries director, who then reports to the DS. So those are some of the structures. As laity, we'll then say CM chairpersons, then the lay leaders. That's the highest office for laity. So things like that. Know your structures. Make use of the church's resources when you're not sure. Some of us were not born in the church. When I say born in the church, as in we grew up going to other churches and we came into UMC. But for you to be able to know now what the church is about, there are resources which are out there. We've got umc.org and we've got Resource UMC. And for a communicator, it is vital that you use these things. You can explain yourself based on what you have seen, which is written down there. The UMC is privileged. That is one of the few churches which has a constitution, and the constitution is there. We also have a brand manual which tells us what to do and how to do different things. Know the church hierarchy and titles. I think hierarchy I spoke about. When in doubt or unsure, ask. When I say titles, one of the things that we see, for example, that most communicators make is the difference between a pastor and a reverend, when to use the title reverend and when to use the title pastor. Those are some of the things you can research, or you can even ask your own pastor or ask anyone to explain. But to make it simpler for this discussion, a reverend has a collar, and the pastor, not yet. They will eventually get there, but when you're not sure, just ask yourself, do they have a collar? And then what title do I use when referring to them? And then but also all of them can be referred to as pastors, right? But when we're using titles, so let's not make those mistakes. And when it comes to names, when I said when in doubt or unsure, ask. There's nothing wrong with going to our pastors and asking, what title do I put? How do I spell your name? Right? It's better that way, and they will tell you or write it down for you, and then before you put it out there. And then the other thing that I wanted to say also about titles, let's not be hung up on Mr. and Mrs. titles. I know our culture, we're talking about culture. Our culture tells us, for example, people feel maybe if they don't put the Mrs. to my name, I'll feel offended. But where, if you've ever seen any communication of mine, I just put my name as it is, Eunice Kadiki, Allen Karimunenga, Rangana Idzotizei, as we go like that. I know there are titles that we cannot omit, doctors, PhD holders, and I've seen lawyers recently also want those. But to make it easier for us and to avoid titles which are not in the church, for example, where we end up using brother, sister, things like that, just use the names as they are. I say names on the birth certificate or names on my tombstone, that's the name you put. I'm yet to see a Mrs. Eunice Kadiki on a tombstone. I don't know if anyone has seen that. So let's not get hung up on titles when we're putting out information, because sometimes we can offend without knowing. Like I said, know the difference between a reverend and a pastor, the title. You can call someone a Mrs. when they are not married and they could be offended, or you call someone a Miss when they are married. So it's easier to just use the name. It doesn't take away any dignity by using the name. It's easier for all of us. But if you do want to use those titles, make sure it's consistent and make sure you ask what the correct title is. Be prepared always as a communicator. Equipment, have your equipment ready. If you know you're going to an event, right? What equipment do you need? Is it charged? Make sure you charge your equipment just like you charge your phone. Carry power banks. We never know what's going to happen. I think here in the mission area, we don't have issues of power outages and things like that. But yeah, or you can run out of, because you're far from a power point, a plug or a socket. Carry a power bank if you've got. Invest in things that aid your communication. Permission. Now, what happens is you need permission for certain events and accreditation. Find out. What we find, something that happened at Blackpool. This is a recent event, and some of you were there, some maybe not, some watched online. There were too many people with cameras and phones who were not maybe I should say accredited, or did not have permission to be there. It ends up being chaotic in the front or wherever it is. So as a communicator, seek permission. I would like to cover this, know if you're allowed or not. Because some events we are not allowed and accreditation has to be done. So know those things, be prepared. Source quotations for equipment that is needed by the charge, right, or the circuit. If you need equipment, like I said, we start off with a phone. I have a phone. I attend Bristol. If Bristol needs needs equipment, I source the prices for the equipment that I need. Which equipment do I need? We are very fortunate that Mr. Karim and I go to the same circuit, and he has sourced that for us. He has done that for us. Next slide, Mr. Karim. Be accessible. as a communicator, be accessible. When I say be accessible, batika, be approachable. We can add other things, but just be munhu wekuti unosvikika. It's not easy to approach you, and I mean, make sure it's easy to approach you, and also be accessible. Not that you're not reachable. Tell people when you're reachable, and when you're not. For example, myself, I've told people I'm available on Tuesdays. You can get a hold of me on Tuesdays, so people know when to get a hold of me when they want things done. Be inquisitive. You need to find out. If you don't know, there are things that happen and we don't know, or we take for granted, we don't ask. But as a communicator, be inquisitive. I've had interviews and had asked questions where people were like, how did you think of that, or what happened? But be inquisitive about the church. Just don't take the norm, at least, or be able to explain to people what happens. It also helps you to come up with content when you're inquisitive. Be a content creator. When I say content creator, not the Facebook content creator that we see with those who are trying to make money, but what I'm simply saying is, for example, we have sections. And for example, kwedu kunoku, Pastor Mondoro came to our section last Sunday. Amungati mufundisi vauya moshaya kunyora, kana kuti bishop vauya, DS vauya, porega kubuda something. That is the kind of content. Every Sunday, like I said, if you can, Bristol, something comes out of Bristol, United Methodist Church. Ndizvo here, Mr. Karim. So, yeah, sorry, I was talking about the but I'm saying Bristol, something comes out, and I'm saying be a content creator. Every Sunday, something should come up. I was looking at the page, at the ROI page, and we are getting there. But I'm saying, as a communicator, create content, find something. You can't say you've held a service. It was UMYF week. What came out of it? Who preached? It's simple things. It doesn't have to be complicated. So as a communicator, be a content creator. Find something to say or write about every service or event, right? And like I mentioned previously, if it's not written down, it never happened. Be initiative. We have what are called post-church bulletins. It's informing. You may not have information, but again, it helps when you're inquisitive. Like I mentioned, church bulletins, the name of your pastor, associate pastor, the lay leader, associate lay leader, the contact details. That's part of your bulletin. Do you know there's people who don't know all those things? They don't know who is who. But if we do church bulletins, which can be online, right? It doesn't have to be printed online, and it's shared within members. You put motivational stuff, or you can put also our finances for the previous week, what we received, and things like that. Be initiative. Make church interesting. Make people want to come to your church or to join your church. Teach. We have what is called the liturgical calendar. We see those different cloths anenge ari papulpit or anenge akawaridzwa ayayaya. What do they mean? Zvinobvepi? Tataura nyaya UMC.org. Those things can be found on the UMC.org website. So liturgical calendar, the color ye Easter yakasiyana, the color ye Pentecost yakasiyana, the color ye Christmas. That is the liturgical calendar, and teach things like that. And those are some of the things that can go on church bulletins. Why is it red this season? Why is it green this season? Tirimu harvest, utakava harvest, green, you'll find green. Why? Things like that. Teach. Most people don't know these things. Why are they changed, and what, from which period to which period do certain seasons run? Attend lay trainings. Where there's training as communicators, let's go. Let us attend late trainings where we can. Most are on Zoom these days. We can attend or join, right? If you fail to join, you can ask for recordings. Like this one is being recorded. Ask for the recording. Participate in meetings. It's very good as communicators to participate. We've been asking at mission area level that we be involved at the planning stages of meetings. Why? Because munorongerwa zvinhu zvisingaitike or zvisingabatike, and then we then complain. So as a communicator, participate in meetings. Izvi hazvikwanisike kuitika, this is possible. Why don't we go this route or this venue and things like that? Or we need this equipment, can we hire? Suggest, come up with things like that. So let's participate in meetings. Give advice on print quotations. Where can we get something printed? Take time to learn and get things like that. Designers, work with designers. Find designers who are UMC trained, designers in our church, and we suggest as communicators, let's use this designer and try to get at least 3 different quotations where possible. And then be always on time. As a communicator, you cannot be late. You cannot afford to be late. Get there. You have to go there first. Communicators should get to events early for setup. I want to give an example of Blackpool. Kune table yema-communicators yakatozoitwa futi tatosvika. But then we then spoke to the lay leaders vakati zotigarisa pamberi patatakagara pai. But as communicators, you need to find, when you get to an event, if you get early, then you set up pari convenient, panotoreka ma-video, panotoreka ma-pictures, without also disturbing vanhu vanenge varipo. So it works to your advantage when you're early. And then that's also when you get time to ask questions which you may not know. And hopefully you will have gone with your equipment, mnenge marongedza ma-charger and stuff like that. Think ahead and plan accordingly. Plan angles to take pictures from, etc. There are videos, we've taken aerial videos from on stage, from the back, taking pictures and things like that. This is just the layout of the venue, for example. Keep the history of the church by saving, keeping, and archiving records. We work hand in hand as communicators with history and archives. We communicate first, history is made, and then we archive it. So when you're buying equipment, you need to buy external hard drives and maybe have Google Drives where information, pictures, and stuff like that is saved. That is our role, or some of our roles as communicators. Get the church calendar in advance in order to plan ahead. When you know which event is coming up, I think, Roy, you've got an event coming up. So when you know, you can plan ahead, you can take time off from work and all those things. So it's also the role of a communicator. Write articles, minutes, and reports. So let's try and do that as communicators. Are there any questions? Okay.
Andisikuona vakasimudza maoko, so I think we're just absorbing, we're
All
learning.
right. Okay, Mr. Karim, next one, slide 8. Have you moved?
It's gone to slide 9. I think he skipped slide 8.
Slide 8, Mr. Karim, which is the 5 W's and an H. 9. Sorry, 38. Sorry, slide 8, the 5 W's and an H. All right. So when writing or when putting out a flyer or communicating in general, make sure that what you're putting out addresses at not the 5 W's and an H. So the 5 W's and 1 H are a set of questions used to gather information. They consist of who, what, when, where, and why. Adding how creates the 6th question but how can sometimes be answered by the other 5. So sometimes you don't need how, but we need those 6 questions asked. When you address all of these, trust me, you won't have questions. But if you miss one, this is when people phone asking, this ndekupi, ndiani, all those things. It's because one of these would not, or 1 or 2 or more of these would not have been addressed. Next slide, Mr. Karim. So who identifies the people or person involved? So we're coming up with an event, right? I was using Masangano, which are coming. Let's say we're designing a flyer. Have you moved, Mr. Karim? I don't think so.
We're still on the 5 W's.
Yeah, but 9, now on slide 9.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so who, we're now discussing the 5 W's, who, it identifies the people or person involved. We are coming up with a flyer. Let's say we're coming up with a flyer for an event that's coming. So what we're saying is, who is our target audience? Who are our preachers, right? And who in general are we addressing? Or is this a flyer meant to get to? What this describes the event, action, or situation. What event is it? Right? What is the name of the event? Get it in full. Ask for the organizers to give you the correct title of that event. So what describes the event, action, or situation? When? So we're looking at time. This specifies the time the event will occur or occurred. When is this? That's dates and times. It's starting at 8 and finishing at 4, 1600, right? Where? Location, place. Here in the UK, we use postcode. So let's include postcodes when we're putting where the locations. It helps a lot to do that. Why? This explains the reason. Why are we doing this? What is the motive behind the event? It may not come out in a flyer, but when you're writing an article, it comes out and it addresses issues. People won't have questions asking why are people doing this? Because if it's an article, you then explain why are we having these conventions or whatever event that we are having. How? This asks about the manner in which the event will occur or occurred. So in this situation, we're looking at, for example, this training is on Zoom. How is it going to be held, right? Is it in person? Is it on Zoom? Is it on Teams? Is it on WhatsApp? So those are the 6 questions that you need to ask when you're putting out anything that you want people to you want your communication to get through or your message to be received without questions. If you address all those, trust me, you won't have issues with people asking. So that's also something we want to address when we look at examples. I've put in some examples from the ROI Facebook page at the end, and where these questions need to be addressed when we're posting things on Facebook, on social media. We need to, the who, what, when, where, why, and how on our posts. So let's include those. All right. Next slide. Managing social media, use of the UMC logo. The UMC logo, also known as the cross and the flame, is a registered trademark. Registered means it's something chakato registwa. Sorry, I forgot to check where exactly, but I mean the office where it's registered. But it's registered, making it legal. It's legal for the UMC and its members to use that. And our logo has that R in a circle. It means it's a registered trademark. And it's the official logo of the United Methodist Church. It can stand alone by itself. If you see the cross and the flame, you already know it's UMC without a doubt. And where possible, use it with that R. Let's move on to the next slide. Use and integrity. So what's following now, I've taken from the resources I spoke about, umc.org and .org and resource UMC. So who may use the cross and the flame? Only official United Methodist agencies, including local churches, may use the insignia to identify the United Methodist work, programs, and materials. It should not be used by individual for personal purposes, such as on profiles and tombstones. I'm expecting questions here. If not, that's okay. So what we are saying, I'm sure in our interactions on WhatsApp, on Facebook, we know someone, or maybe some of us here, have the logo on our WhatsApp status, the logo on our Facebook profiles. We have said this is an official emblem or insignia of the United Methodist Church. What it means, because it says it can only be used by agencies, including local churches, because they represent the church, the UMC church. As an individual, you do not represent the church. You can be sued based on what you put up. If on your WhatsApp profile, on your Facebook profile, you put things which are contentious, you can get people in trouble, you can cause creation, because we are now saying when you put the profile, the logo on your profile, you're saying, I am representing the United Methodist Church. So that is property of the church. Please, let's advise each other not to use the logo for personal profiles and tombstones. But I know we can't we can't avoid that, but it's property of the church. So we have learned something, I hope. Commercial uses. Use of the emblem for commercial purposes, such as printing on t-shirts or bags to sell, must be approved. So if we are doing it for a function, for an event, it's okay to use, but not when I want to make money by myself and the church is not getting anything out of it. So this is what it means. If you're using the logo, it must be approved by your church, based on where you are. Let's continue. Are there any questions?
Sorry, I don't see any hands raised, so I think there are no questions at the moment.
All right. So the next ones I'm going to go through quickly. Integrity of design. This mainly affects designers, but it helps us as communicators to know that our logo has been put wrongly, or it's a wrong logo. Sometimes people get offended when as communicators we say, no, wrong color, you've used wrong colors. I want to give an example where for RRW, for example, people here tend to use the blue, but blue is not the official color of the church, right? And if we use it on the logo, it's not accepted. There are certain ways of things that we want to do. So this is some of the things that you need to know as a communicator. So how should the logo, the cross and the flame, which we said on its own means something, it means the United Methodist Church. So this is what we're discussing. It should not be tampered with. How should it appear? So because the cross and flame is the official insignia of the United Methodist Church, any reproduction must be faithful to the original design, especially in these areas. No other objects or design shall touch or cover the cross and flame. It should appear to stand alone or apart from any other design. Atibatanidze, we don't join, we don't put it next to other things, we don't atingoita zvidobidobi nelogo iyoyo. The base of the flame should be lower than that of the cross. So trukuti pared apa pakati dzikirei than the cross here black at the bottom. The tip of the left portion of the flame must align with the left arm of the cross. I think some of these things we can do takavhura tichiona logo yacho. Let's move on to the next one. 13, the space between the flame and the upright of the cross is slightly wider at the top of the design than it is at the bottom. So kumsoroku it's slightly wider, kwakati kurirei than at the bottom. Include a thin line of space all around the arm of the cross that lies against the flame. The flame may be screened, shaded to create a contrast between it and the cross, which is, I think, the red there. Avoid using odd two color combination. Use black and a second color, such as a bright red. Do not alter the words the United Methodist Church. That is the correct name of the church. It's called the kana chitaura church yedu, the United Methodist Church. Do not alter the words the United Methodist Church accompanying the design, either in type, style, or placement. Let's move on, Mr. Karim. I have put 2 examples of some of the logos that we have. So we see, like I said, this information can be found on umc.org or Resource UMC. Mr. Karim? Okay. So those are some of the logos. With the one, the open hearts and open minds and open doors, the copyright, the registered trademark is actually there at the end after church, after the H, it's actually there. On the other one, it's not there. Like they said, preferably, but because there's the wording there, I cannot justify that one. But yes, let's use that arrow in a circle as much as possible when you're using our logo. Next slide, Mr. Karim. Internet use of the cross and flame. Questions have arisen as to how the emblem may be used on the internet and in other settings. These guidelines should be followed. The registration mark RE in a circle should appear below the cross and the flame, preferably to the right of the cross. I think the first one that we used, we can always refer and go back to that. Make sure the dimensions of the cross and flame are correct. Okay, and so those are the resources. Those are the way I took the information from at the bottom. Let's move on. Communicator duties on social media. I said we're spending most of the time or we're communicating on social media. So have the ZIA UMC Zimbabwe Episcopal Area. I know that's not the correct title or the proper title when it refers to the bishop, it's longer than that. But the Zimbabwe Episcopal Area, which is where our church originated from. So have the ZIA UMC local logos, badges saved and readily accessible. As a communicator, we're just saying, because unoenda kuna designer asina logo. So as a communicator, have them saved somewhere in your phone or somewhere, just have them. It's not a must, but not because the designers may not have that information and you should know kuti badge re UMYF re RRW re UMC rakamira sei. We're going to talk about page administrators and posting roles. This is my personal opinion and my advice. At least 2 page administrators. Right? These are the permanent page administrators. They are the ones who create a page. And then we can have temporary page administrators where if we have an event, we add and then we remove as we see fit. So maybe Mr. Karim and I are traveling to Roy, right? We can be added for that period, for those days, and we are able to administer and to add things, to post things on the page. When we finish our work, we can be removed as admin, but there will be at least 2 permanent admins on that page. And posting roles, using example of Mr. Karim and I, we are administrators on the MA Facebook page. So what normally happens when I write, for example, or when I have something, I send it to Mr. Karim. Mr. Karim posts as much as I can post as an administrator, but it prevents things of duplication. You may have seen on pages where something is posted twice. It could even be on WhatsApp groups, where something is posted is duplicated. It's because there's no communication or there are too many people administering a page. So administrators need to communicate and to assign posting roles, for example, so that there's no duplication. So if I send to Mr. Karim, he already knows what it is and I want a post. So that is what we mean by page administrators and posting roles. Then etiquette on social media. when I say etiquette, in life we have etiquette on different things. This will touch or can touch things like WhatsApp groups, Facebook, mainly. So even on Zoom now, there's etiquette where we mute, for example, when someone is presenting. WhatsApp, I would like to say we just don't exit a group, for example, maybe explain or speak to the admin to remove you or something. I don't know, it's part of etiquette. Posting, how many times you post. So this is dependent on an event. But I would say if it's a post on a Sunday, for example, have one post, right? Because if you overpost, other articles or other posts may not be seen. And also the number of pictures, for example, if you're posting, don't post too many pictures because people will not be able to like 100 pictures. Unless if it's different people and we'll be looking to see ndabuda here apa, ningiwa ndinoziva abuda here and stuff like that. But some of the pictures we post are the same pictures and we repost. So like I said, this is my opinion in terms of posting, but at least one post a day, unless if it's an event, for example, like Blackpool, Chiringa Nyanza, where it's happening and you're posting things as they're happening. Pava, this preacher, power, the next preacher, power, chichi, and then you post it as things. So you need to see what works and what doesn't work. But if it's just a normal Sunday or a normal post, at least don't overpost. You've got the whole week to post. Post maybe on Sunday, post on or post on Monday, post on Wednesday, post on Friday. You know the page is active. Let's not overpost. Separating accounts and profiles. I would like to believe all of us have social media accounts because you cannot be, as a communicator, you cannot be a page admin when you don't have your own profile. So you need to have your own profile, and this is where you network. I may have missed that point. As a communicator, you need to be a networker. You network with different people, and this is where we meet and we get to know other people without even having met them. And so, know to separate the ROI Facebook account and Eunice Kadiki Facebook profile. There are things we make that mistake, my Facebook administrators, where we comment as the page. I will put an example later on of something that happens because when I post as Roy, ndiri admin we Roy, I'm saying ndiri mushangu the office ye charge or yamfundis, and that is not the case. So we need to be careful that when you're posting things where either trukubata maoko, trukuita my birthdays, we are congratulating, we are posting as personal on our personal profiles. Unless if you are a global brand like Zotnet, you can do that on your page, right? But for the rest of us, we are admins on church platforms. We cannot do that. We do it on our Facebook profile. So there's a difference. Separate your accounts, the church one and your personal profile. Let's try check first before you comment. Kuti hausi comment say church here. That is what I'm saying. Zoom, for example, you need to be able to create links as a communicator. How do you how do you create links? And then facilitating, managing meetings, we learn as we go. But those are some of the things that a communicator duties on social media. Next slide. That's example of the local logos and badges I was talking about. That is a communicator. You need to have these somewhere, whether on your laptop, your external hard drive, your phone, when it's needed, you know, and kungoziva which ones, which is which. Let's just know them. Let's move to 18. We're almost finished. There are 20 slides, so we're almost finished. So this is examples from the MA Facebook page. Mr. Karim, I don't know if you can zoom or people can see the first example. Can we all see what's circled in green? Hello.
Yes, we can.
Okay, can someone tell me what is wrong there or why that word has been circled?
I think it's a wrong spelling for unforgettable.
Thank you. Now, this is a whole mission area Facebook page, and that goes out. So when we're talking about, like I said, no one to take offense because I'm an administrator on that page. Mr. Karim is an administrator on that page. Ranga, I think, is an administrator on that page. That goes through. But if there's no communications between us as admins and the page roles and posting that we're talking about, because the other person will then pick up, Mr. Karim has corrected me before and said, correct this and remove this and stuff like that. So those are some of the things that happen on Facebook pages. The next one, the other one. Can someone read for us what the caption says?
Wedding congratulations to Mr. Simba and Murora Wedu.
Okay. Any comments on that? This is the United Methodist Church UK mission area posting that.
Murora We Mission Area.
Yes, but who is posting?
Yeah.
Church.
Church iri kuposta.
Murora We Church.
Murora we church. This post yakatinetsa commission area. Because like I said, my page aya, they are representative, especially the mission area, it's representative of the DS's office. That page. Saka tiri kuti here comment yabva kuna DSC.
No.
No. Yabva here kune church.
No.
This is an individual. This is me as an administrator wishing the couple congratulations. But ndabuda manje mushangu dzangu. This is not the job of a communicator. Because one, zvichanetsa. Are we going to post munhu wese achachata ko vamwe vakachata vasina kuwishwa apapa? So there's certain things we shouldn't do on the Facebook page, on our church Facebook platforms. This is what we are saying here. We cannot, as an individual, Inini or Mr. Karim or Ranga, as my administrators, my pages, we can't do that on the mission area Facebook page, but we can do that on our profiles. So rangu page rakanzi you Kadiki, I can wish them. There's nothing wrong with that. Hapana nomboreza ma eyebrows. But iri manje iri. Kuroi mukaita michato yenyu muchavunza. Yema funerals futi yakatinetsa kuti are we going to kunyora munhu wese afa kuti chakati nechakati. So many things. So some things as communicators we need discretion to do before posting. We shouldn't just post. Let's move on to the next slide. Now,
Wait, Kadiki.
Yes.
Before
Sorry.
you proceed on that one,
Okay.
let me just add on to that, kuti as a communicator, you are actually wakangofanana nekuti wapiwa post yekuti uri CMD or uri CM chair or RRW chair. That does not give you the authority yekuti unotora zvinhu on a personal level, yet it's a public office. So you just have to remain public and abide by the rules of the office. So as you rightfully said, you need to put zvinhu zviri personal on your personal page. Then zvinhu zviri zvemuoffice kazhinji kacho hazvingobuda from kuti ngori kumba kwako tofunga ndakungoposta zvinhu pagroup rechurch. There has to be authorization as well. That's one thing I think we need to know. There's need for authorization for everything that we post on a public platform, because actually you are representing a certain office. So I think that's where I wanted to add there. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Karim. Anyone else before we move on?
Sorry, control. Thank you so much for the information you're giving us. Kuda kungobvunza wangu for interest sake. Imimi
Yes.
since muri communicators and manage a Facebook page reku mission area, can the profile not be logged to only the communicators to post rather than kuti does everybody have the access to post like nindogona kupost a mission area page as a member of the United Methodist Church?
No, you cannot post. I don't want to say unfortunately, but we have 4 administrators and one of us posted. We have 4. Let's limit to 2 and 2. So this is how this happened. This mistake happened because for our 4 where someone posted without consulting the others. But like Mr. Karim rightfully highlighted, know your office, know pauno gumira. But yeah, commission area is because reformer admins. But can I less fewer muri true, for example, you can communicate and mnogona kugadzirisana. So unfortunately, that is the Mamira Kaita, the mission area Facebook page. One of the 4 of us posted, unfortunately.
Can I ask something?
I'm sorry.
Yes.
And ndadangoita hangu comment yekuti I suppose even muri 4 kana pane proper communication. I don't see any reason why you can't communicate so that whatever is going to be posted zvingopostwa zvazvinofanira kunge zviri. But ndachida kutaura nyaya yekuti so if you are mixing English neshona on an international platform, how does that tarnish the image of the organization, or what kind of risks do we have?
Okay, no, thank you for that. Yes, like I said, Pandatanga Kutawa, I don't know if you were there, Kuti, let's not catch feelings. These are mistakes. We use practical examples. Zvino zviri kugadzirisika zvema for administrators ku mission area Facebook page. But thank you for highlighting that. It has been discussed. But this is practical. It will happen. Satashandi Saiwao, but I think it has been corrected already. So I don't expect to see such on the mission area Facebook page. With regards to mixing languages, because we mainly Shona speakers, and it is so there are times where we have to explain. You explain where you use Shona, you then put in brackets the explanation in English. If you're writing your article in English and you bring in, because some quotes are said in Shona. For example, you're quoting zvataurwa namfundisi, zvataurwa nabishop, you quote zvavataura, and then you put a translation in English. So that is what we do when we are writing articles. Because like rightfully you're saying, it's an international platform and we have different readers to read. So that they understand, we try as much as possible to translate closest to the meeting that has been put out there. I don't know if the other communicators have a different explanation to that one.
No, I think you have explained. Let's just take it like, for example, I'll give a practical example. In our own church, we do have some guys, vakarora varungu, and they come to our church. So if we write in Shona like that, and they are on the page, then the next thing is we're not communicating, and shatisa the whole thing. We also have Vakomana Varura Vedu Mazulu. They are also on the page. So that would be like if you put it in Shona, like she's saying, let's just put the English what it means so that we communicate with everyone. I think it's something that we are actually learning. Tese, say kuta kwa tutu papa, we are all learning. So it's a learning curve. Let's take it that way. Thank you.
Mazvita,
I'm sorry.
ndinoda kubvunza kuti especially pafoto yakaiswa pascreen iyo yekuti he made the song sha unforgettable. kuti patori neera 1 grammatically. 2, I think kuti kana communicator achiposta ngaabva aposta nesong yachona ka kuti ari kuona anozobvunza kuti akagadzira song yachona iripo, where's the song? Pamwe kusangana enge asipo angovhura page ongoona munhu achiita. Again, anofunga kuti as communicators not all photos anotorwa anofanira kupostwa. I understand kuti maphotos anopostwa ngave ari important, anotaura maybe a photo anotaura at least 1000 words kuti munhu achiona anofanira kuziva. Mamwe anofa asati aona musuwo wachona because kuaposta haasi kuedha value to the organization or kuma audience aitwa targeted for.
I'm sorry, Megadiki.
Yes.
Ndokutenda nema-contributions akanaka kwazvo nekudzidza uko tiri kuita. Pane pabuda patorwa ndikomaranga pe-authorization. Ndinoda kutora se-ROI kuti munhu akanga I do believe lay trainings and people become good over time rather than authorization. Ndinonga zvine censorship, zvinobvisa creativity and all that stuff. So vanhu vanonga vachishaisha vachigadzisa like what we are doing now, people are corrected. So authorization, like for example, as a pastor, ndoona babatiro wako nditi, can you approve of this? Ndire basa rakandiwandira. Ndo kuti wapa basa kuti pamwanoziya. Ndofunga kuti authorization is something this hazvinonge zvinozocreata dambudziko. Vanhu mukuona ndinotya maningi nyaya yecensorship nekuti vanhu vanoshaya freedom kuita zviro zvavanoziya, because when people are given these jobs they are trained, and each and every time tinongoita ma-continuous development tinonga tichingodzidzisana and they will become perfect. So zvekuauthorize kune nhango zvinonga zvine kadambudziko mbichana as a pastor kune inini kuseketi kunoko mazvita.
Okay, thank you, Mfundisi. I think I think maybe my last slide is about protocol, but patambe ichitaura kuti know your hierarchy, zvinhu izvozvo hazvifanira kusvika kwamuri. Kana ndisiri kukanganisa ndichakorektwa nevamwe, but authorization haifanira kusvika kwamuri. Saka tachiti une ma-CM, communicator une ma-CM chairpersons. Ma-CM chairpersons vachaenda kuma-lay leaders. Isusu kumission area tine ma-lay leaders. So zvatinotoposta zvese zvinoenda through ma-lay leaders. Yes, pakazoitika ma-mistakes aya akaitika zvawo, but we don't post. Takaudzwa izvozvo when we were put on board kuti you go through the lay leaders, they approve before you post. So I'm sorry kana muri kuwandirwa, but that is not your, as communicators, let's not take authorization issues, especially for things like that, to the pastor. I think protocol iri kukanganiswa some way. Pakudaro, I don't know, I stand to be guided, but I don't think that's something for the pastor to be doing.
Thank you very much. Regrandi ndi way papapo ndichiti in most cases kana tichiri kutanga chinhu zvezve ndo patinoita like need for authorization so that we know what we post and what we don't post, and then the relevant offices now dzinenge dzakuchiita basa radzo. Let's say for example this communications history and archives, it falls under CM. So zvazvinenge zvichireva ndezvekuti kuna CM ndo kunenge kune zvese, and CM being a CM vanoziva exactly what is supposed to be posted and what is not supposed to be posted, so much that isusu munhu zvatotoposta DS havatoziva, vanotozvionerawo ipapo, CMD vanotozvionerawo ipapo. So it doesn't necessarily mean kuti zvinofanira kuuya kuna mufundisi for authorization. No, I think over a time muchatozoona kuti pamwe pacho unotoposta zvinhu zvekuti zvinenge zvisina kwazvatomboenda kunoauthorizwa, but maakuziva kuti that's the procedure. For example, Sundays services, taking Bristol for example, pastor Mondoro vanotozotongoonawo zvinhu zviripo, CM chair vanotongoonawo zviripo, because we now have a format yatinoziva kuti pachechi tikapinda service we do this and that, then kana tapedza we capture the most important things. For example, pandataura akati zvoni pane mamwe maphotos which we don't even put pamapages. Chatongoziva nje kuti pakana uchitora maphotos one Sunday, uda kutora muparidzi, urida kutora late gist, urida kutora gosa achapa zviziviso, uda kutora kwaya iripo kana pane kwaya iripo, then you take probably the general congregation yese, and then maybe vaenzi. So you may have at least maybe 10 photos chete dzekuti dziri kungoratidza kuti what really transpired kuchurch. That does not need any authorization from anyone, but that's basically doing your duty and your role as you are supposed to be doing. So kuna musandiri ndangoti kana vanhu vakunyatsokufamba mune zvakanaka, vakunyatsoziva zvavari kuita and zvinhu zvichifamba mushe chaizvo, authorization pamwe pacho inenge isisiri necessary. Unenge wakungoposta zvavari kuziva kuti ndo zviri kufanira kunge zviripo. Ukasatoposta undokufunga ko nhasi maita sei, right? Meaning to say people are now following you and seeing zvamuri kuita. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry. Can I add?
Yes, Mukomaranga.
Okay. Yes, mazvita makadiki nepresentation. I think pamusoro pezvekutaura naakari munenga. I think confidence yekungoziva kana pango neconfidence uye nekuziva kuti zviri kufamba sei. I think panofanira kungoshandidzana between the lay leader ne-communications team, especially kana paine information inenge ichida kuenda. For example, when I was communications chair kuCrembon, zvanga zvangozikanwa kuti zvinhu hazvitombosvika kuna mufundisi, but pane zvinhu zvakaita sekuti paitika nhamo yemunhu mukuru ari kutozikanwa, mufundisi aikona kungofona ungoti ndozvaitika, just write a message ndaingosvika kunonyora kwavari, ivo tongoitarisa votongoti po. Kana kuti malay leaders vaigona kutongoti nhingashaya, can you craft a message, because zvinofanira kungoitika ndezvoti leadership inoziva kuti izvi ndinozvikwanisa here kana kuti zvandizvikwanisa, in as much as takapanana maroles kuti ava ndo macommunicators edu, ava ndo chii. So scenario yekuti malay leaders anandinawo zvekunyora izvi zvanga zvisiri zvavo, saka vanongokutaura kuti nhingo adini, nhingo ashaya, create the message woiona ubva watongoti bo yakutoenda kuvanhu. So just to batire zvasvita namufundisi, pamwe pacho zvinokwanisa kutosvika kwavari, but kana patongo nerelationship iyoyo between malay leaders nevari kuita zvepublishing necommunications department, zvinhu zvinofanira kungodini, zvinofanira kungofamba, information ichiramba ichiflowa, kuita kuti pasazoita senge panonokera zvinhu, because we know kuti programs need to move, especially kana pakaita rufu paseketi, information ikanoka kufamba manje zvinhu zvinogona zvinonokera pazvinhu zvamanoda kuita. Saka ngapangova nethat relationship yekuti magosa they have to be on touch, vachiziva kuti chakati chaitika, if it needs to be communicated vototaura necommunications, kana paine zvoda kunyorwa voringisana voaprovherana, zvorodini zvotofamba, information ichitofamba.
Thank you. I think Nambona Roko, Mindumba, is there a hand?
Sorry, inini handina kuruona, I must have missed it. Taura yenyu kana paine vari kuda kutaura vanga vambosimudza ruoko. Nguva dzedu ndo dzatifambei, saka maybe this will be the last question, whoever wants to speak. Mazvita.
Mazvita mubati wechigaro. Ndinofunga kuti zvema-authorization differ from person to person. And pamwe pachona it's not an authorization. Ndekungochekawo kuti zviri kumita here ma-minimum standards amataura mudzidzisi ekuti ma-emblem iri right here, ma-color combination and all those stuff. Mumwe mufundisi anoda kuti zvidarike nepaofisi pake, ungopfuura oisa input otigadzisa zvakati, plus chinhu chikaonekwa nemaziso akawanda chinogona kuita perfect, not kuti maphotos ekuposta, maybe ibhana resangano rekugadzirwa kavideo clip and all those stuff. Pane kuti communicator kuavoida maembarrassment ekuti waposta chinhu uzondichaita mamistake chibviswe vanhu waona and all those stuff. Saka it's differ nevanhu and the perfection yebasa inoita futi zvakare kuti confidence yekuti vanhu vedu vari kuziva zvavari kuita here. That's my comment.
All right, thank you. I think just to sum up what Mr. Karim was saying and what Ranga was saying, you get to a point where you're trusted as communicators. If you are reliable, unosvika pakuti DS mfundisi vanongokuti, you know, there's an event happening, you come up with everything. And we need WhatsApp platforms where we discuss these issues. Ndanchitaura nyaya yeEbenezer TV. There's a WhatsApp platform. Zviri kuitika kumasangano maflyer designs chichi tese tiri kuzviziva, macommunicators vari mugroup iroro tiri kuzviziva. So WhatsApp platforms also help. Vafundisi havatoziva except vafundisi vari muplatform umomo havatoziva what is happening. Kana vatauri vacho havatozivi what is happening, but magroup yemacommunicators vanenge varimo ndo vanoziva kuti takanganisa logo here, takanganisa chii tichibatsira vanhu zvakadaro. So let's try not to load mufundisi wedu and let's know our protocol as much as possible. Let's move on. 18. Now this is the ROI page. I hope, like I said, no catching feelings. Please, no catching feelings. Takuratidza do my mistakes eku mission area Facebook page. Now we are on the ROI.
Sorry, slide haisati yamuva.
All right.
Pane
Next
ruoko
slide.
rwakasimudzwa vatambwa muchiri kuda kubvunza here?
Chokwadi. Achikuda kubvunza kuti pamapictures anobuda anozopublishwa aya, tingazive kuti do we really need authority yemunhu wacho isati abudiswa, isati apublishwa, isati abuda papublic in terms of GDP nemaregulations iya kuti do we need authority kune munhu wacho kuti takupublisha picture yako paFacebook?
What we say, if it's a public event, we don't need permission. If it's a public event, zvasiyana maybe if it's an interview, then munhu anogona kuselecta kana kuti okupai mapicture aari kuda kushandisa. But public events, we are protected whatever pictures we use as long as they're not embarrassing. And vana kazhinji tunodzidzisa shandise mapictures evana, but for other people, no, we don't need permission for that as long as vari papublic platform. I hope that answers. Let's move on to slide 19. All right. Let's move on to slide 19, Mr. Karim. Like I said, no catching feelings, please. This is the ROI, my example. Mfundisi pane vamwe vanotsamwa pamwe mapage admin vari pano, but anyway, let's
My slides are set to move. Is it just me? It hasn't moved.
Mr. Karim, slide 19, please.
Yeah, it's 19. Slide 19. That's the one we are.
Aiwa, tishiri ya 18.
I think pamwe screen yenyu yafreezer because this is trukona. Maybe let me share my screen.
Was kunokuratidza kuti pa 19 pakanzi examples from ROI Facebook page.
But yeah, ndikaitione yamai ndumba because tatichiona iyi yatabva kutaura yemission area. Okay. Now let's discuss. Ndakaona 2 Facebook pages. So already pane confusion inogona kuitika apa. So UMC in Ireland, ROI UMC Church. Which one is the official page? Ye ROI.
The UMC in Ireland. We used to have ROI UMC Church, but pane zvakaitika and then we lost access to it. I think it was blocked or for whatever reason. So we lost access to it. I don't think there are any recent posts on it, but we couldn't delete it.
Okay. So those are some of the challenges we face as communicators. One, we've had challenges where someone anoramba password. Kuti vamwe vanhu, like yatambotaura administrators, there are people who are selfish, who don't want, maybe haasisiri pachigaro, they say they've forgotten the password and stuff like that. So you find there are so many Facebook pages for a district, for a church, for a church, because of that. So those, like I said, these are examples, practical examples that we see. So as communicators, let's not be selfish. Kana wakubva pachinzvimbo, add other people for the good of the church and for our committee, kuti shoko therefore go, shoko rifambe, anditika. So this is what exists. This is what's existing on Facebook based on island pages. So the first one, UMC in Ireland, I hear is the official one. We've got 145 likes and 259 followers. That can be improved. Now we are going picture, munaripa picture ndiano. Per main picture.
Ndimfundisi Budio.
All right. Saka mfundisi, kana tishandisa picture yamfundisi, what are we saying? Maybe my question is, what was the justification of using picture yamfundisi per Facebook page? Looking at the fact that vanema terms, mufundisi vakabva, what's going to happen? Maybe let me just make it short and say, patachitaura nyaya yemalogo yeye, this is the best place to use those logos. Aditi. People come and go. We try not to use people's faces on things that represent the church, because the church is bigger than an individual. So we do not put pictures on like church pages or church pages. We will use then either a church building, Kanatine church building, or the logos. Those zvatinoshandisa ipapo pamaningi pama pages edu, or like pictures of, I think, my members ayo. But again, things like this end up being tricky because munhu wese anoti kwenini handina kubuda. So let's use neutral pictures as much as possible for our pages. Like I said, the cross, hapana nokunetsa nekuti mashandisa cross, but mukashandisa face yemunhu zvakafanana nenhingi yatashandisa yemuchato iye kuti, are we going to wish everyone achachata permission area like congratulation? It's the same with using people's faces on our church pages. Okay, I don't know if there are any comments. Let's move on before we do comments. Let's go to the third picture. Pane highlights, pana ngatiudzoti paka what has been highlighted there.
Fellowship spelled wrong.
Pakanzi fellowship. Ndo zvimwe zviyo like zvaita unforgettable kupage reku-mission area. So let's communicate. I think this is actually a recent post-ish on this one. So let's communicate, let's advise each other. And if we pick it up as we may not be administrators, let's correct Mono. Tumirai Mono message, please correct this spelling and this, because this is going far. Then the last picture. What's the name of the farm? Sorry, I can't. Let me zoom. Clonfert farm highlights. Tambotaura nyaya the 5 W's and an H right. They've not been used with this post. Pane vataura vakati, I think pa ningia sha song, that picture, that post. Kuti a caption was needed. It's the same with this. Whenever we post anything on Facebook, let's put a caption which addresses, for example, the 5 W's. And that will help. It's a good one, but ma highlights farm. The word is farm, but exercise. So if we then explain there are no questions. Like I said, if we address those 5 W's and an H, there are no questions on our pages. Any comments?
It's noted. It's
all right. So the last slide, the last one was just protocol. 20. Sorry, mine now is frozen. Let's see. Okay, so the UMC is the Church of Protocol Order. There is hierarchy in the church. We've discussed some of the things. Communications falls under connectional ministries. A communicator should know and have a good working relationship with their CM chairpersons and CMD. Make sure your CM chairpersons know all your church business, events, and travel in advance. When I was taught this, it had to do, I was given an example. When I say church business, especially, for example, I'm having this training, right? My CM chairperson should know what I'm up to. Your pastor in charge should know what you're up to. That's what we mean by church business. Events and travel. Kana uri kufamba like Blackpool kuno cover something, for example, takabva kuno kuenda kukoko, your CM chairperson should know, especially if you're traveling in between different charges or different churches and stuff like that. The example that was given to me was of a preacher kumbirwa kuno preacher somewhere else, a different circuit in Zimbabwe. Asvika uko kumba anoporongosha shoko. Anga asina kuoneka kuchurch. People didn't know what was happening. It was the relevance of why we need to kutaura kwatiri kuenda. People didn't know what happened, why that person was there and stuff like that. So always as communicators, communicate with your CM chairpersons, even your lay leaders, kana vasiri kubatika. And because we're a church of protocol, everything we can find in the church. So thank you very much. We have come to the end. Time is not on our side. It's a long topic. It was not going to finish in 1 hour. There's more that we didn't cover, like pictures, how to take pictures. Someone mentioned like a picture can say 1,000 words. We didn't get a chance to say all those things. But thank you for listening and thank you for attending this training. I hand over back to you, Chair.
Basa maita basa nekuti dzidzisa vadikani ngatimbo-unmute titende dzidziso yanga iri pamberi pedu. We have really learned tadzidza zvakawanda zvinyowani. Ngatipururudzei tichitenda mutauri wedu. Tinotenda
Okay, thank
Dzita
you.
tadzidza. Thank you
Basa. One
all
of
of the best.
Aiwa maita basa, and what an honor. Tatsikwa famous celebrity Zotnet wekuZimbabwe. Maita nyine kuvainvita Kadiki. Thank you so much for your presentation. Na baba Karim Nenga tanzwa kuti tinogona kungoshete nawo kuti Karim maita tafara tadzidza zvakawanda, and we have a lot of homework to go and do and correct mapages edu mazvita tinotenda. Handizivi, maybe just a quick one. Imimi, would you know, kana lose access like to that other page that we need to delete? Would you know a way to go around that, to try and delete it? Kadiki.
Deleting is difficult. I think Kanatisinga's a password. But what you need to do is now to market and advertise the current page. And put
Okay.
out more. Tag van wanenga anadzotneta. They will market for you. If he reshares, obviously van wanenga wachingo like zvese zviri kuitika post. Let's not be shy to post, but could delete nengi. So the more people see it, the more they'll know this is the official one.
Majita, thank you so much.
Sorry, just to add on, kana mune my WhatsApp groups, please feel free to add me na Mr. Karim. Kana mchidaranga if you want, but isusu tiri kuno for time differences and stuff, we can also discuss certain things in WhatsApp groups. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will certainly do that. Boswedu media, I think varipo vatiri vavi ndo media boswedu kuno ku Republic of Ireland. So ndikufara kuti I think varipo ndaona gadget ravo dautenda mwari kuti tadzidza pamwe chete. And even for those who are not here, we have the recording. So we thank God kuti ticha famba on the same page vachateererawo kudzidziso yepamusoro yamatipa Kadiki. May God bless you. Mwari varambe vachikushandisai vachikupai mikana yekudzidzisa mission area yese kusvikira tese taakuziva how to post good articles pamapages edu. Thank you very much. God bless you. Iye zvinorega indipe nguva ino kuna kune CM vachizotifudzira mberi lay leaders and mufundisi kuzonamata nekuvhara. Ndapedza Mazvita. Over to you, CM. kana CM isipo mali leaders edu torai mukana please mozopa mufundisi.
Pamusoro imaindumba mwanga vakatibatira chigaro pamusoro iyi mutauri wedu toda kutenda zvikuru mese kusanganisira nababa Karimu. Toda kukutendai nenzira yepamusoro-soro matiitira zvakanaka. Kusatenda uroi kudzidza tadzidza ende tatoona kuti tine zvizhinji zvimwe zvatatiri kungoporonga tichipiringishana tichienda sevaroi. I think munhu wese ari pano anobvumirana neni kuti tadzidza maita henyu chaizvo mazvita. Mwari wekudenga akuitire zvakanaka. Da kutenda vese vaenzi wauya kuzopinda nesu Zimbabwe, UK. Sure, feel free, tinokugamuchirai nemufaro ende tiri kufara kuti makatitsigira chaizvo kuda kunyatsomeka sure kuti tawana information yakakodzera. Saka toda kutenda nesapoti yenyu ende tokumbirisa kuti please mazoom details matoaona, don't be shy kuuya kutivhistirawo patenchita kana Sunday services edu tinoita tinotangana 2 muchingoonawo kuti tiri kuita sei muchitibatsira. Tiri kukura, tinoda kudzidza, saka sure tibatsirei, musadzora tsvimbo kuti pamwe taakunyanya. Aiwa, sunungukai tibatsirei, tinodawo kuita zvakanaka, tinoda kukura, Mwari vari mubatsiri. Saka toda kukutendai nekuva pano neknowledge yese yamatipa. Ticharamba tichiverenga tichidzidza sezvo zvarekodwa mazvita. Mwari vakuitirei zvakanaka. Thank you mese maatenda vadikani. Tofunga tese tadzidza, Mwari vakuitirei zvakanaka. Time dzedu dzafamba, ndakungomhanyisana. Regai ndipe mufundisi vape marimati nekubva vativharira, asi maita chinhu chakanaka mazvita.
Pamusoro emaindumba, pamusoro echechi yese paROI, ndokutendai maita zvakanaka, maikadika hatina manzwi, tadzidza zvakanyanyisa kwazvo. Baba Karimu Nhenga, Mukomaranga, I know it's late there in Zimbabwe but we here, maita zvakanaka. Namaikatsande muri pano mese, ndokutendai. Panapa paROI tiri chechi inoda zvekudzidza, tinoita malessons all the time, saka tinotozvifarira. Chakudaidza izvo zvamazaura kuti hazvina kupera, tinotokudaidza izvo, uye mese makasununguka kuzouya. Panapa maplatform ekudzidza haaperi. Regai tigashire nyasha. Tinokutendai Mwari muusiku uno, pataakuorara tazwa zvese zvaitwa. Tinokumbira nyasha tatenzi wedu Jesu Kristu, rudo rwenyu Mwari nekuwadzana kwemweya mutsvene, izvozvo ngazvichienda nesu. Tinokutendai Mwari muzita raBaba nereMwanakomana neremweya unoera. Amen.
Amen.